I remember doing my work like a normal human being. Then we get this announcement by our principal saying COVID has broken out everywhere. And I just remember running home like, Mom, I have no school.
This is High Tech High Unboxed. I'm Alec Patton, and this week we're doing something special. This year, our team has been working with 3 7th grade teachers from Cedarbrook Middle School in Cheltenham, Pennsylvania. All year, they've been talking to students about what the year's been like for them, and they've each turned these interviews into podcast episodes. These episodes are honest, they're raw, and they capture the scary, uncertain year better than anything else we could have come up with. So, now that the school year's coming to an end, we're releasing these 3 episodes over the next 3 days. Our first episode is by 7th grade English teacher Kristyn Sanborn. I asked her if there's anything listeners should pay particular attention to in our episode.
Yeah, I would say the thing that I was taken aback by the most in this process is just the wisdom and the maturity with which students looked at the pandemic, the perspective that they gained. And, I felt like I was talking to adults in some way, like, these are just kids, but they were talking like they had already lived this entire lifetime, because this past year, I think, has been so serious for so many of them in different ways, that just the perspective and the maturity with which they were speaking in all of this was just, I get it, but it was really like, wow, to experience that.
All right, let's roll it.
We all should just pat ourselves on the back because, we really made it through the year.
For the students of Cheltenham, the end of normal arrived on Monday, March 9th, 2020. The end of normal started out just as that, a normal day.
The last day in the school building, we had a group thing for 7C. We were all in the gym and we were just playing dodgeball. I remember that day I wore a dress because it just was a nice day.
I remember walking out with Judah because he and I were sort of in a thing, but we're not going to talk about that. And we were playfully pushing each other around, like 7th graders.
At first, the end of normal wasn't taken seriously by many of us.
I wasn't in school for the last day, so the last day for me was that Friday, the 6th. I remember it was probably allergies and I had this really bad cough. And I remember that day that my friends were like, I hope you don't have COVID. And they were joking about it because at that time, I think it wasn't that serious.
The end of normal was sudden.
I remember doing my work like a normal human being. Then we get this announcement by our principal saying COVID has broken out everywhere. And I just remember running home like, Mom, I have no school.
The end of normal seemed like it would be exciting.
I don't actually remember much of the actual day, but I do remember very distinctly going home. My mom had just decided to come with my dad when they picked me up, and I was in the car with my friend. And my mom was on her phone, and she looked and she saw that there was a new email. And it said that we had gotten a week off because they needed to clean the school building. And me and my friend were like, yay, a week off!
The end of normal didn't come with any goodbye.
We were packing up to getting ready to go. And one of the students were like, oh, the teacher has a secret. She announced that we were going to be off for the week. And then I never got to see her in person again.
The end of normal became long and drawn out. It took us a while to realize that life as we knew it was gone.
We were on Instagram, we were all just excited how we didn't have school and how we didn't have any assignments to turn in. And then I think a week went by, and that's when news reports started to roll in.
I was in a group chat with the high school students, and then they were talking about it, and I was like, 2 weeks? Oh, okay. And then it just gradually got a longer amount of time, and I was disappointed. I actually liked school in 7th grade, so.
The end of normal would become the new normal, and we would experience several iterations of the new normal, bringing us to the kind of back to normal that we are now just starting to know. Back in school, with some of us lucky enough to be back together, and the other half still holding on through a computer screen. We were looking to understand, to process what we had all been through. A shared pandemic, the same storm, yet we're all in different boats. I set sail to gain insight from a masked up, socially distant circle of both former and current students. Their realness, their rawness, their remarkable wisdom would make it seem as if they had each lived a lifetime within just 1 year.
So you have made it through a full year of pandemic learning.
Yep.
And there are just 25 days left in this school year.
Really?
Wow. Really? Wow.
Really?
Wow.
So how are you feeling about that?
This year for me, it was scary because I thought we were going to be in school and it's virtual, and now we're in person, and who knows what we're going to do next year. So it's going to be a surprise.
I didn't know there was only 25 days left. I really have to pull up my grades. But yeah, we've been managing this year. It's been A-okay for me. I don't know how it was for other people because you don't know how other things are at other people's homes. I appreciate the teachers for sticking with us and not getting too frustrated if work couldn't get turned in because a lot of things were going on. It was so complicated during that time.
I feel like in the beginning of the year, it was rough. And I feel like we all need to remember how rough it was. Picking off from 7th grade virtual and trying to learn new subjects, and it's shifting to 8th grade virtual also. And so I feel like we all should just pat ourselves on the back because we really made it through the year. Most teachers were very understanding. As students, we just had to remember that everybody's going through something. And we just had to push ourselves more than before.
I'm kind of sad that the year is over because I feel like this year will definitely be known as the year that I want to say the forgotten year because everybody didn't get to finish their year and didn't get to do the stuff that they wanted to do. But it is good that we all had the opportunity to at least come in and finish our year here.
You know, when we first thought that we were going to get out of school, it was only about to be 2 weeks. By 2 months, it was kind of getting really depressing because we started to realize that school was really kind of our safe place, other than at home.
For me personally, it was interesting to see how everyone adapted to everything and how quickly it took a couple months, but then everything started piecing together and everyone started shifting focus from this is a bad situation to, okay, how do we deal with it? What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious, as a teacher's perspective.
What are my thoughts? All right, you're flipping the script.
As a teacher, we want to hear what
So, all right, you got it. So, at 25 days left, this is bittersweet. This has been the most difficult year of teaching for me, and the heartbreak of losing you. I still refer to your class as the class that Corona stole.
Yeah.
So you'll have a place in my heart. It will always be that piece that is never truly finished. I have reinvented myself 15 times because I'm really passionate about teaching. You know, every time there was another change, I had to be good at it. I had to be the best. So I had to, reinvent myself. And starting in the beginning, chasing everybody down and calling kids on their cell phones every day, why aren't you reading chapter 5 of The Outsiders? Where are your annotations? From that to teaching summer school just so I could learn how to be a virtual teacher, to teaching virtually and figuring out breakout rooms. Now we're in the hybrid and figuring out how to teach a Socratic dialogue with hybrid, which I think we finally did.
Yeah.
Right, my 7th graders. But the bittersweet part of that is, I'm super sentimental. I lost you guys and now I feel like I finally got to know this class and I'm going to lose them too. I need a break. I need to chill out, but I don't want to say goodbye.
I feel like we all feel this way because we never got our official goodbye, the goodbye that we expected we were going to get. But coming from EP, we all felt like this is going to be the year of change. This is going to be the year I make a name for myself. This is going to be the year I turn everything around. And then I eventually get sent off to high school. But that year, in a sense, was stolen from us. And I feel like we kind of feel a little helpless because we can't do nothing to get it back. All those memories that we created with each other and couldn't finish are just taken, and then we just ended up at home not knowing how your friends were. It just was all very fast and we had to adapt to this new lifestyle.
I totally agree because I feel like as a sixth grader, in the beginning of the year, you're like, I can't wait to get to Cedarbrook because like you're so excited to go to a new school because you're gonna be like all grown up now because you're in middle school, and then this happens, and then you have to learn to adapt to being virtual for sixth grade, and then coming back to a new school for virtual, and then coming in. It's just kind of messing with your head a little, so it's definitely really hard.
I really appreciate your willingness to be so open and real about your feelings. In the face of adversity, there are often important life lessons to be gained. So is there anything that you have gained from this time? Things that you will keep or take with you?
I gained like my strength of being really shy because back then I was so shy, and we've been traveling a lot during quarantine, going to different places, talking to people, and I feel like now in person in school I can talk to people and I'm less shy.
I gained a temper, but besides that, it's like it balances out because I also got a lot more patient with people in some circumstances because teachers, they might not be able to get to something as quickly as you need them to, so I have to, relax with that. But temper as in other students, like say they're interrupting the class while we're learning something important while we were virtual, it got on my nerves.
Learning how to adapt to situations that I would normally not face, like learning how to adapt with my education, learning how to adapt when just speaking up for what I need now, because knowing that what I need may not always be there.
I think the main thing that everybody here, at least in some sense, gained was a lot of time. I think a lot of people gained like experience and insight and time to kind of just reflect on things as a whole, because that was really the only thing we had. And I tried, to learn and develop skills and things like that, but I think that was the main thing, was like the experience of having an overabundance of time and what to do with it.
I think what I have gained was probably to not take so many things for granted. And because, most of us, we were like, oh, I hate school, like I don't want to go to school anymore. And now that we actually didn't go to school for a couple months, everyone's like, oh, I want to go back to in person, like most people are.
Before COVID, I used to just think that school was taken for granted. Going to the store, I took it for granted. Just going outside, I took it for granted. But being in quarantine, it really shows you like nothing is certain. Nothing is in print, because I know that I could lose a family member as quick as a dime would drop. I could lose my life from just hugging a friend that I haven't seen in a long time and forgetting I'm in a pandemic. I can lose my life from going to school and getting too close to somebody in a hallway by accident.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said about taking things for granted, because typically the thing you want a lot and then you get it and you don't want it anymore, and that was a big thing that I noticed. Not having something predefined to occupy yourself with, and being a kid and not having that much to do, it kind of starts getting people. I think opinions on going to school and having things to do and having structure in your schedule really changed, and for the to be appreciated.
So, what do you think next year will look like?
I can't really say what it will be, but I just hope that it's going to be a lot like sort of how our 7th grade was before the quarantine. Maybe like all of our classes the same day, so we're not getting left behind, so we're ready for the year after.
I think next year we need to remember that, teachers are trying their best. We just came from a struggle.
But I feel like teachers and students will kind of get it a little bit more. And I think it will be way easier next year. And I'm hoping that people will appreciate, what we have, what this year was, and what next year could be.
A great big thank you goes out to my 8th graders, Lonnie, Chloe, and Finn, and 7th graders, Shaya, Morel, and Emma.
High Tech High Unboxed is hosted by me, Alec Patton. This episode was written and edited by Kristyn Sanborn. Our theme music is by Brother Herschel. We have a new issue of our print journal, Unboxed, that just came out. You can check that out along with lots more at hightechhighunboxed.org. All one word. Thanks for listening.